Flight attendant tases black boy without warning. Then his lawyer dad ends it all before we dive in this story. Hit the comments and tell us your city or country. Let's see how far this story reaches. If you like the video, please subscribe. A 13-year-old black boy sat quietly in his seat, earbuds in, flying home from his first solo trip. But something about him bothered the flight attendant, his hoodie maybe, or just his skin. Without warning, a spark lit the cabin, a scream, a flash, and the boy collapsed, writhing in pain. No explanation. No apology. Just silence and stares. But what the flight crew didn't know was this. His father was waiting at the gate, and he wasn't just any dad. He was the lawyer airlines feared. Watch until the end. Miles Carter was like any other 13-year-old, bright, respectful, and full of curiosity. He had just finished a week-long science camp and was flying home to Atlanta. This was his first solo flight, a milestone he was proud of. His mother had walked him to the gate with tears and a nervous smile. His father, David Carter, a renowned civil rights attorney, would be waiting at the arrival gate. Miles wore his favorite NASA hoodie, a gift from camp, and stayed tucked into his window seat, earbuds in, watching clouds pass by. Nothing seemed unusual until the flight attendant passed by the third time. Her eyes lingered too long, her expression unreadable. Other passengers chatted or napped, but something about Miles had unsettled her. She whispered to another crew member. That's when the shift happened. The quiet became tense. And Miles, unaware, was about to be at the center of it. The flight attendant approached again, a tighter smile this time, her steps deliberate. Without addressing Miles directly, she gestured to him and spoke into her radio. Moments later, 2 more crew members joined her. One leaned down and said something he couldn't hear over his music. Startled, Miles pulled out his earbuds. "What?" he said softly. They asked him to stand. Confused but obedient, he rose from his seat. That's when the attendant claimed she had seen him fidgeting suspiciously and refusing to follow crew instructions. Passengers glanced over. Miles tried to explain, but they cut him off. Before he could sit down again, it happened. A sharp click, a flash, and electricity surged through him. A taser. His small frame hit the floor hard, convulsing. Screams filled the cabin. Someone asked, "What is going on?" Another shouted, "He's just a kid." The flight crew quickly tried to regain control, claiming safety protocol. But the image had already seared itself into every phone camera in the cabin. When the plane landed, EMTs rushed to the scene, but Miles was conscious, trembling, with red burn marks on his side. The officers who boarded the plane were tense until they asked the boy for his emergency contact. One name changed their entire tone. David Carter. The man was already waiting by the gate. David Carter didn't raise his voice when he saw his son Ching, strapped to a stretcher, eyes wide with fear. He didn't need to. He walked past the officers, past the gate staff, straight to the flight attendant still clutching her report. He handed her a card without a word. She read it. Her face drained out by the time the airline manager arrived. David had already begun making calls to the FAA, the media, and federal prosecutors. He didn't threaten. He informed Dot, and when the airline tried to spin the incident, David released the footage, multiple angles, multiple witnesses. In less than 12 hours, the story went viral. Hashtags, headlines, outrage. And then legal filings. Not just civil. Criminal. This wasn't just an angry parent. This was a reckoning in his suit. Miles recovered physically. But the trauma, the confusion, the betrayal, the humiliation lingered. David made sure his son would never be forgotten. But more importantly, that such a thing would never happen again. Within weeks, the airline suspended the entire flight crew. Policy changes followed. New training, body cams, taser bans, and non-security staff. Settlements were reached, but David refused to sign a confidentiality clause. He wanted the world to know, because this wasn't an isolated case. It was a pattern, a perception, a prejudice. One boy, one hoodie. One assumption. So ask yourself, what if that had been your son? And more importantly, how many more Miles Carters are flying today, hoping their skin doesn't make them a target? Where are you watching from? Which country and city? Drop it in the comments. Let your voice be heard. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you believe stories like this need to be told. Take care.